Hello and welcome everyone to the fifth episode of the Parahack Let's Learn JavaScript series. And in today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at JavaScript data types. Now, on my screen, I have all of the data types that are available in JavaScript. We have just 8 of them. The first one here is a string. The second is the number. The third is the big int. The fourth is the boolean. The fifth is the undefined. Sixth, null. Seventh, symbol. Eighth, object. Now, before we move on, I want to say something about objects. There's a particular phrase you probably have heard in the past when it comes to JavaScript, which is that everything in JavaScript is an object. And that's semi-true because JavaScript has a built-in object and pretty much every other thing in JavaScript acts as an object. So with an object, you can have user-defined objects and built-in ones. Some example of the built-in objects in JavaScript are arrays, dates, map, set, and a whole lot more. So when you end up writing JavaScript code, you realize that pretty much everything built in acts as an object. So that's just something I wanted to get down straight. So what are the importance of data types? We have 8 of them, but what are their usefulness and what are their importance? Well, when it comes to variables, you need to know what type they are to be able to know what sort of operations you can do on them. For example, numbers. You want to do calculations. You can't do calculations on string. You can't do calculations on booleans. You need to be able to do calculations on number. You need to know that variable x is a number and variable y is a number, so I can multiply them. I can do a bunch of operations on them. If I know that variable x is a number and variable y is null, I know that it's not possible for me to do mathematical operations on them. So let's actually try that out. Now the const x is equals to 5 and then const y is equals to 5. Both of these are numbers. Their data types are numbers because 5 is a number and 5 is a number. Now if I try and add both of them together, remember console.log x plus y would give me 10, correct? But if I change this to a string by putting this in quotations, as you can see, JavaScript goes on drunk master mode and gives you 55. And the 55 that has been returned is actually not even a number, it's a string. So what it's doing is just taking this and then adding it to this, not in terms of mathematical operations, it's just combining them together. So 5 and 5, and it's making the whole thing a string. So that's clearly wrong. If I'm doing 5 plus 5, I want a number of 10 and I don't want a string of 55. So that's why it's very important for us to know the data types so that we can know what sort of operations that we can do on them. And one other thing to know is that when it comes to JavaScript, their data types are dynamic, meaning that a certain variable can be used to hold another type of data type in the future. So for this example, we have x. Now let me change this to let so that I can redefine them. So I have x equals to 5 and I have y equals to 5, but in a string. So this is a string. And I want y to be equals to normal 5. I can just come here, y would be equals to just the usual 5. And now when I do console.log and I said x plus y, I will get 10 because of I am redefining this right here. Y at the top here is declared and a string is what is assigned to it, but later on I am assigning a number, so it's a dynamic programming language, JavaScript, and that's why we can do this. Now this is not necessarily a good thing, but it's also not necessarily a bad thing. So there's usually a fix to this, which is what we call TypeScript, but this course is not based on that. Maybe sometime in the future we'll have a TypeScript series, but for now we're just sticking with JavaScript. But yeah, JavaScript is dynamic and we can do funny things like this where we can have a string and then we can declare it and redefine it as a number. Now let's actually look at each of these data types one by one. So I know you might have understood string and number, but we'll take a look at them as well. So starting off with strings, you already got the gist. I can see const name is equals to Lawal Adebola Fawaz, which is my name. And you can see that if I console log this out, going to return my name for me because of that is string and it's holding the string in this name. So I can log that out and I can do things with this. There are a lot of methods I can do on the string. So that is what string is. Basically quotes, anything placed inside the quotes, whether it was a number placed inside the quotes, it's still a string. So single quotes or double quotes works. So I can change this to double quotes and it still works, still the same thing. Now let's go with the example of a number. So I can change this to age and I will change the string 6 to 20. And now this becomes a number, and there are number of methods and operations I can do with numbers. So that makes them different from strings. I can do additions, subtractions, and I also have a bunch of methods here. As you can see, we have to exponent, to fixed, to local string, to precisions, to string, value of, so on and so forth. So yeah, that is number. Let's take a look at big integer. Big int and numbers are very similar. The only difference is that big int value represents numeric values which are too large to be represented by the number primitive. Like crazy large numbers, like those days when you write on your calculators and you're trying to do a calculation on your calculator and then it returns you a value like something and then it has e at the end because of it can't keep on going. There is no space in your calculator to take out all those numbers. That is a big int. So where I can demonstrate this is by saying const large number would be equal to big int, and in big int I'll just put a crazy large number. So as you can see, I have this really large number right here, and if I log this to the console, what is returned is this number, which seems pretty different from what we wrote here, and it also ends with an n. So that signifies that this is a big int number. It's really large to be represented as a number, and you would even see that if you're using VS Code, they will show you this little dot right here telling you that numeric literals with absolute values equals to 2 greater than 53 or greater are too large to be represented accurately as integers. So that is the error you get, and this is why you get this sort of value returned. Alright, so let's move on to booleans. So booleans, very easy. I can say is male, and this would hold the value for right if is male or not. And that's where boolean comes in. Boolean can either be true or false. Since I'm a male, this would be true. And when I log is male to the console, we will get true. Right here. True. And this can also be an expression. Let's say for me to be male, I have to be older than a certain age. Doesn't make any sense, but just for this explanation, let's go with it. So for me to be a male, I need to be older than 50. If not, I'm not a male. So the expression that we can have here is age greater than 50, and that will return to us true or false. I can create a variable above here and call this age, and my age would be 40. Let's go with 40. Now say age greater than 50, and age is not greater than 50. 40 is not greater than 50. Ismail would be false. So we get false here. But if I changed 40 to 60, Ismail would be true. I know this isn't the best example, but just flow with me. And there are other things that we called truthy or falsy values. So for example, 0 is a falsy value. Any negative number is a truthy value. Every positive number is a truthy value. An empty string is a falsy value, but if the string has content in it, it's a truthy value. Just keep that in mind. In the future, we'll look deeper into this. Now let's take a look at undefined. Now undefined is very easy. I can just initialize a variable called color, and if I don't define or assign any value to color, color is undefined. Let's check that out. The reason why we are getting this red stuff right here is because of I'm using const. When it comes to const, it must always be initialized when it's declared. So I'll change this to let. Now with let, we didn't get that error. Now I can log color to the console. As you can see, the result we get is undefined because of color was undefined implicitly. We can also explicitly set this as undefined, and in the future we can define it as something. So like say color is equals to blue because blue is my favorite color, and now color is blue. So that's how undefined works. So we can also use this example to show the one from null. Null and undefined are very similar in terms of they pretty much hold nothing, but undefined is in the name. It was not defined, or it was explicitly set as undefined. But null, it's not empty. There's nothing inside. It's a type. Null is a data type. You set it as null because of that is what you want the value to be. Maybe in the future you want to change the value, but null was what you set it as. So I can say color, and color will give me null. And you can do things with null, like I can say age is equals to null, and I said let year is equals to 2012, and now I want to add age and year together. That won't work because of null is not a number. Null is a different data type on its own, and there are different reasons why you might want to set a variable to null. I can say age plus year. So you just get 2012 because of null is, as I said, empty. Now let's take a look at objects. As I said earlier in this episode, we have two types of objects. We have the built-in objects in JavaScript, and we have the user-defined. We can define an object in JavaScript using the curly braces. Come here and say attributes is equals to, then open my curly braces. This is me defining an object here. And in here I can put in attributes. I can say height is equals to 7 feet, for example, whatever. Color is red. Eye color is black. Okay, I can change this color to skin color. Does that make sense? But red doesn't make sense for skin color. We'll go with green. For God's sake, green. We are defining the attributes of probably the incredible or because of I don't know what other creature has this attribute, and we can say build muscular. If you can spell muscular, spell it properly at your end. And now we have these attributes. We can actually get the values of these attributes. Now, if I want to get the eye color, I can get the eye color. If I want to get the height, I can get the height. I'll log to the console so we can actually see the results. I'll just say attributes. Now with the dot notation, dots, I can get the build, the eye color, the height, and the skin color. I didn't spell skin correctly. Again, do that at your side. My job is not to spell. My job is to teach, not to spell. All right, so we can get the build. Now it says that the build is muscular. We can remove the build, and we can say the skin color. If I'm gonna change this, I can't stand this. The skin color. Now you can see okay, the skin color is green, and we can check other things as well. We can check the eye color, and the eye color is black, and we can get this anywhere. So this could be in another file, and we could export it from that file, import it in this file, and be able to get these attributes. So that's as simple as an object gets in JavaScript. That was a user-defined object. Let's take a quick look at a built-in object in JavaScript. The one I'm going to be looking at is probably the one you'll be working with the most, which is called arrays. It's a const. Names with an S is equals to now. So I can say Lawal, and I can say Ade Bola. I can say Fawaz. Now I can log this out to the console.log. If I just log down names, get Lawal Adebile on Fawaz inside this square brackets. Now we can get each of these individual um, values using the brackets notation. So when doing or treating arrays in JavaScript or in probably any programming language out there, we start counting from zero. So the first value here is zero, the index of zero. The second one is the index of one, and the third one is the index of two. If I want to get the first one, I'm going to use the bracket notation. So I'll open the brackets, then I'll type in the index. The index I'm going for is zero, and it gives me like, well, if I want the last one, which is when it comes to normal terms, is the third one, but in programming basis, it's the third value. It's going to be the index two. So I remove the circle and I'll go with two, and it gives me flowers. That's as simple as data types gets in JavaScript. I don't want this tutorial to be too long. I try to keep these things short and precise. So if you guys enjoyed this video, let me know by commenting, giving the video a like, and sharing it with your family and friends. I'm trying to get everybody to become a programmer, even your mom and your dad. Well, in the next episode, we're going to be taking a look at JavaScript functions. So I hope you guys are excited for that one. And I'll see you there. I love you all. Good day.